Alright, I'm going to have the shivers, got a few cups of coffee. Right now, again, my hands are going to shake doing this. Just letting you know ahead of time. Alright, by a quick show of hands, how many people know a little bit about stem cell research? Good hands, good hands. How many know a lot? No hands. Okay, one hand back there, perfect. Alright, so we're going to start this out with, the Idaho Statesman this Saturday said that President Obama is going to be lifting some of the restrictions that the Bush administration 8 years ago put on stem cell research. 8 years ago, he limited taxpayers' money to a minimal amount for any stem cell line, which there was only a few hundred, to those lines that were created before August 9th of 2001. Now, since then, there have been hundreds of lines created, but anyone who took federal money could not touch them. So through this speech, since Obama's lifting some of those restrictions, I'm going to be telling you the pros and cons of the research, as well as telling you sort of what the three stem cells are and what they can do. You know, what a little fact or two about them. The first stem cell, or the three stem cells, are adult cells, cord cells, and embryonic cells. Adult cells, generally speaking, are the most successful cells that have been tested on so far. They can replicate the DNA exactly, so they are potentially the strongest form of cells. However, since they are the most potent and most direct DNA links, they have a little bit harder time of using them, and the process of getting them is a little bit harder. Cord cells are the best storage cells and have the highest ratio of usable stem cells in them. However, since they come from the umbilical cord, people tend to want to store them for their child or themselves later on because they're specific DNA matches. So the further you are outside of your the family range, the less likely you are able to use them. The final stem cell that has been researched is embryonic cells. This is the one that's got the big controversy going on about it, and the one that Obama was lifting the restrictions off of. Embryonic cells are studied off of blastocytes, which are about 100 cells big, and from those cells, about 90% of them are all stem cells, and basically 90 cells are stem cells. However, to extract this cell, you have to abort the embryo, and basically, if you want to look at this, the baby before the baby, you have to kill it. So that's where the controversy comes in: is it worth killing a child if you want to study stem cell research? If you want to look at it that way. However, these cells are master cells. They can morph into any cell in the body. So potentially, the research is that they can revitalize organs without having to do any type of surgery. Now, the cons of these, there are many different types of cons. One of which, that Dr. David Prentice, who's stem cell research, he's actually for it, but he's against embryonic stem cells research. One of the recent things he stated was that the stem cells used from the embryonic stem cells, 20% of all tests that they've used on Parkinson's, or to cure Parkinson's in mice, have ended up giving brain tumors to those patients. So 20% of all the tests. And they've had roughly over 1,000, so 200 mice have had brain tumors. So it's really like a toss-up of, is it really worth it? A medical journal called Derivation of Health Stem Cell Lines of Human Blastocytes stated that embryonic stem cells that are left in cryogenic chambers for long enough actually tend to grow into a chromosomic isotope that basically makes a cancer cell. Basically, after a certain amount of time, they'll actually make a cancer cell. The final big, huge controversy is, if you want to look at, I'm going to jump over the abortion baby thing, because I'm sure y'all kind of have your own opinions about that. I'm trying to stay away from persuasive speech. The final one is the God complex. The con is, all medical research, any research, has its ups and downs. The atomic bomb was made to end an endless war. Now, 10% of our own nuclear arsenal in America could completely annihilate the Earth. So that's a big con. The pros of such research, however, all of Dr. Cowan, who wrote the medical journal that I just quoted earlier, and Dr. Pentice and other sources like on experimentalresearch.com stated that there are many advances in adult stem cell research. In animal testings, they have successfully treated diabetes, Parkinson's, strokes, heart disease, and paralysis in many tests. In humans, they've actually solved multiple sclerosis, lupus, sickle cell anemia, repaired cartilage and heart damage, restored movement to patients with paralysis, and alleviated symptoms for Parkinson's. So from this short speech, I hope that you got a few of the downsides as well as what we could potentially do with adult stem cell research, and sort of have a better understanding of what Obama later today is lifting the restrictions off of.